Hey YouTube, it's Vinny from Bam's Tactical again. Today I want to talk to you about preparing for an emergency and your food storage. Alright, we all know bad things can happen, and this is my plan that I've used to get me more prepared for those emergencies. Alright, you can't expect there to be food just lying around if there's a hurricane, tornado, civil unrest, whatever. You know, if you've got to hunker down, you've got to have the supplies you need already in your home. If you have to leave your home, you are putting yourself in danger. So, I'm going to start here and go across the table. This is my level 1. Level 1 is just canned goods that I eat on a regular basis. Alright, when I say that on a regular basis, I mean weekly. I'm making meals with these canned goods. Alright, so I've got canned meats that, you know, Hamburger Helper, things like that. We can mix it together. I'll show you my pantry later on, but the important thing about these is they'll last for years, and if you rotate them properly, then you'll never have to throw any food out. Alright, because you're buying food you eat. Alright, and it's important to keep a journal and a log of what you're eating and what you're not for the first couple of months you do it, so you don't buy 8 cans of something you're never going to eat. Alright, if you're going through spinach like crazy, then buy more of it. Alright, so buy foods that you eat in proportion that you eat them at. So, I'll talk more about the canned goods later, but on to the next group. Next group here is beans and rice. These are very cheap, and you can buy them in bulk, and you can store them in plastic buckets. That's what I do. I've got food grade buckets. I load it up with some rice and some beans. And what I actually do is I put some cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, cream of celery, cans like that at the bottom, throw in 10 pounds of rice and about 5 pounds of beans on top of that. It fits into one of those 5-gallon buckets real easy, and that gets rotated through also, because I like rice and beans. I don't eat them that often as I do these other canned goods, but I do rotate through these. I've never had to throw any of this food out. These two things I believe everybody should have. Canned goods, you want about a month of food in canned goods for your whole family. You got a family of 4 or 5, you need enough canned goods to provide food. I calculate about 1,250 calories, 1,250 calories per day per person. If you're being active, you need more than that. If you're being sedentary, you're just kind of waiting out whatever it is, you're not even going to use 1,250 calories. So I use that standard because that's typically how much is in an MRE, and then it keeps everything about the same. Alright, so 1 month of this. I only got about a couple of weeks more of this stored in there. So this could stretch me for another couple of weeks if it needed to. Like I said, everybody needs these. No matter who you are, you need canned goods, rice and beans stored in your house right now. If you don't, and some people are saying, well, I can't afford it. The way I did this, it took me years to get my pantry where it's at now. Because I'd use a can of spinach, I'd go to the grocery store, I'd buy 2. I'd use a can of corn, I'd go buy 2. And I doubled what I used over a period of time. Instead of spending 68 cents to replace that can of corn, I was spending $1.30 something. $1.36 or whatever. So, it's real easy to do. Rice, beans, super cheap, you can afford those. The next step in preparedness to me is emergency food rations. I know a lot of people skip this step, but to me these make a very logical choice. They store for up to 5 years in their packaging, and they're very small and dense. This right here is 2,400 calories. This would be enough calories for me to survive for 2 days based on my system of about 1,200 and 1,250 calories. 2 days worth of food right here in this. So what I do in all of my get home bags, bug out bags and stuff, I put 2 or 3 of these type deals in there, and now I've got 3 days worth of food. Is it glamorous? No. Is it gourmet? No. Does it taste like dirt? Most of them, yes. Will it keep me alive? You betcha. We can talk about brands real quick. Let me start off. No, I'm not receiving any money for endorsing some of these. I bought a whole case of Daytrex, and I will never buy Daytrex again. Not that it's inedible, not that it's bad, it's just not as good as the others. I mean, they work fine, they taste fine, but they're not as good as these. Alright, Daytrex tastes like coconut dirt. It's alright. It'll keep you alive. Like I said, I'm not going to throw it out. It'll get eaten. I keep these in my bag that goes to work with me. So if I forget my lunch or something, I could eat a couple of these. When I go backpacking, these are what I take with me. When I go hiking and I want a snack. What's nice about these is they're in when you open the package, they're in blocks of 200 calories each. So for a little snack of 200 calories while you're on the trail, these work pretty good. These two though, these come in 400 calorie blocks. There's 6 chunks. Mainstay. These are lemon flavored. Much, much, much tastier. They aren't as gritty. Go down much smoother. I like these. These are the mainstay. Again, 2,400 calories. 2 days worth of food right here. Like very small, compact, very light. But my favorite is the Millennium brand. They taste the best. In here I've got orange, I've got, what are you? What are you? No, tropical fruit, cherry, blueberry, raspberry, lemon. Alright, they got all different kinds of flavors. These taste the best. However, this pack right here is 2,400 calories. These are each 400 calorie bars. So, it takes 6 of these to equal 1 of these. And you can see the size difference. It starts getting a little more bulky when you buy these. So, you want the flavor, you gotta use up some space. But, these things are awesome. Like I said, I'm not eating them for lunch every day. But if I'm running late, forget a lunch, whatever, it works just fine. When I go backpacking, these are what I put in my backpack because you can store a lot more food in a lot less space. So to me, these are the logical next step. Just buy a case of something. If not, buy a handful of different brands, try them out. Start keeping them in your go bags and your get home bags, and keep some in your car. Keep some wherever you want. And they'll stay for 5 years. They'll still be edible. They'll keep you alive. And they're not very expensive. Alright? So, the next stage in preparedness, to me, is the MRE. The MREs also will hold for 5 years. And the reason they're not in front of these emergency rations is just they're so big and bulky. This is about 1,200 calories. 1,200 calories. So this is 2,400 calories right here. This is 2,400 calories. You start to see where I'm going with this? It's a lot easier to put 4 or 5 of these in my bag than it is to put 4 or 5 of these. These, to me, are not meant to be carried on your body. So if you're bugging out, if you're trying to hike these somewhere, it sucks. Don't carry these. These are just fine for having at home. I love having these at home. If you got a bug out location, stock in your bug out location with these, that's great. But don't try to move them on your body. They're too big and bulky and heavy. If you're having to move quickly, this is where you go. They will give you calories, they will get you from point A to point B, and they are lightweight. Don't ever hike with these. Don't hike with cans or MREs. Alright, MREs are great. They've got some variety, not just in each pack, but inside each pack has some variety. Like this one's lentil stew with potatoes and ham. This one's cheese tortellini and marinara sauce. This one comes with a heater, so you can even warm your meal up. They both have crackers and sweets and salt and pepper. They even come with coffee packets. They've got their own utensils in there. MREs are great, especially if you want to help out your neighborhood or something. You want to hand something out so that they can eat. These are awesome. They're not that expensive. I like MRE Star. They've got some good flavors. MRE Star, you can get a case of 12 for about $80. And oh, that's expensive. It's what, $6? $6.50 a MRE, so you're paying $6.50 a meal. You go to McDonald's right now, you'll be paying at least that much to get something that tastes half as good. Alright, I really do like the flavors of the MRE Star, that's why I go with them. Like I said, they're bulky. I keep them in a big plastic tub. Maybe I'll walk around with the camera after this and show you how I store all these so you understand. I usually keep enough of these for a couple months. The reason is they go bad every 5 years. Like I said, I keep one of these in my desk at work because when I forget my lunch or whatever, I've got one handy. When I'm going camping, not hiking but camping, like I drive my truck in, get the tent off and camp there, I bring MREs because they're easy to carry in the back of my truck. And they're a much nicer meal than one of these. When I'm hiking, hiking a trail, these. When I'm camping out of my vehicle, these. That's how I rotate through them. Alright, so I don't ever have to throw anything out. Don't waste anything. My last level of preparedness, we've built up to the big buckets of freeze-dried food. These things are supposed to last 25 years. I don't know how much I believe that. I'm in the process of trying, storing some. My bug out location, they've been there for a few years. I want to go try them out in a few more years, see how they're doing, let some more sit, try some more out, yada, yada, yada. The problem with this is a lot of these companies that claim 25-year shelf life haven't even been around for 25 years. So it's like, how do you know that? You don't know for sure. Some MREs have been eaten, 10, 20 years afterwards, and the guys say they're still edible. The nutrition drops, but it's still edible. You'll survive. Cans can get eaten past their due dates sometimes. Rice and beans, so these shelf lives aren't exact. You have to give or take a few months or years in this case. But this is 120 servings. Each serving is about 200 calories, 250 calories. So you need about 5 servings for a day per person. So about 10 servings for 2 people. That's what I have in my household. So this is about 12 days worth of food for the both of us, and it's in this small, compact space. Alright, so really about 25 of these, if I had the room for it, that's a year's worth of food. But what I've saved up so far consists of a mixture of all of these. I don't know why some people buy a year's worth of food in this and then they've never tasted it or tried it or anything. If emergency hit, I would go through what I have now, which is actually 2 months worth of canned foods and rice and beans. Take me 2 months for 2 people to get through that. Then I've got about another 2 months of, actually I think it's about 3 months. I've got it written down all over here. Yeah, it's about a little over 2 months right here. This adds about half a month. We've got about another 2 months, another half a month. I've got 6 months of food for 2 people right now. And like I said, it's a process. It's taken me years to build up to this. And it's going to take me some more years to get to where I want to be, which is ideally at 1 year worth of stored food, where everything is still being rotated and I don't ever have to throw anything out. I don't want a year's worth of freeze-dried food and then 20 years from now I'm throwing it all out and buying some more. I want to be able to rotate through it and not waste anything. So, I think it's time for me to show you how I store these things. So here's all my pantry food. Starting at the top, I got rice, beans, spaghetti, homestyle bakes, spaghetti sauce, hamburger helper, chicken helper, potatoes, rice. I used to have a whole thing of potatoes. Thought I would eat potatoes all the time. I thought they were nature's, nectar. They were gonna keep me alive, and then I realized I don't eat potatoes that much. That's why these are over here. These are all my things that are gonna expire soon, so I need to eat them first. It's good to always check on your stash. Alright, I got all kinds of canned meats. Chicken, Spam. I got canned beef and pork here. Chili, roast beef hash, Rotel. Got all kinds of greens. Got all kinds of vegetables. I love beans. We've got all kinds of things down here. Potatoes, corn, squash, cabbage. Down here I got all kinds of soups. Alright. So, let me talk about the pros and cons of doing this. The cons. You got a lot of stuff, takes up a lot of space. The pros, which I think far outweigh this. 1, you can always rotate your food. If you notice here, when I go grocery shopping, I need a can of asparagus. I need a can of okra. I need a couple of cans of chicken here. Alright, that's how I go shopping. Alright, I could use a couple of things of potatoes, but I'm not going to get those until I eat all the other potatoes. Alright, everything else is full right now. That's how I do my shopping. It saves a lot of time. Alright, another thing is, when I do spices, I do the same thing. Over here, spices. When I use up a spice, like when this crushed red pepper runs out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my crushed red pepper that's from up here, put it down on this shelf, and then I'm going to put it on the list to buy. So I rotate through my spices the same way I rotate through my canned goods. That way, everything gets eaten. Like if I eat these, and I buy more Spam, I pull the whole column forward and put the new Spam in the back. That way, all my food gets rotated. Like I said, it takes a while to get to this point. But once you get here, I mean, I was having $300 grocery bills for months, you know, because you don't stop eating just because you start storing it up. But once I got to this point, now I'm spending maybe $100 a week on groceries, and that's not on the canned stuff. I mean, we're buying salads and other fresh fruit. That's what's costing the real money. This is cheap, it's easy, and it really makes you feel like you don't have as much to worry about. Over here, we do have some other foods that are more, you know, goldfish. We got some Fiber One bars and stuff, you know, Cheetos, you know, things that, you know, feel good snacks. These we don't stock up on, but we do have them because we do eat them and they do get rotated through. We do have some Gatorade packs back there. So I'm not saying you can't have these items. I'm not saying you can't eat fresh food. You know, we do buy some fresh deals, fresh vegetables and stuff and juice, and we do buy some frozen vegetables, and we do have frozen meat down there. But it doesn't store as long, and if the power went out, I wouldn't necessarily have everything that's in that refrigerator. All right, this stuff is going to last whether the power is going or not. I'm always going to have this. Even if this got flooded, I could pick these cans out and still eat it. All right, canned goods, great way to start off prepping. All right, so this is kind of my storage closet. There's not a light in here, so please bear with me. This is where I keep a lot of my stuff, but I've got a corner over here which is all foodstuffs. So, like I said, in here I keep things like this, cream of celery, to mix in with the rice and beans because they don't taste too well just by themselves. Alright, like I said, I put the rice and the beans back on top there, and I've got a couple of buckets full of those. In each of these buckets here, as you can see, I've got a list. I list all that I've got in there and the brands. I've got 18 MREs that are expiring in 2008 in this one. Mainstay, Millennium, Daytrex, all that. And I keep them in these little plastic totes just so they're easy to keep organized and transport if I need to. My freeze-dried foods I keep up there. I just brought them down for the video. Those buckets are my go buckets if I'm in a big hurry and I can't take the whole closet with me. These buckets actually contain about a week's worth of food per person in each bucket, consisting of MREs and my calorie bars. Alright, that was my food supply. Like I said, I've got enough food for 2 people to last 6 months. Ideally, I'd like to have 2 people for a year, which would mean if I took in a couple of friends or family members, that I could get us, 6 months with 4 people, 3 months with 8 people, things like that. Alright, so that was my video on how I prepare. Remember, it takes each of these steps so that you don't buy too much of one thing. You can rotate through everything. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. Please comment, questions, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel so you can see more that's coming out. And remember, people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Thanks for watching.